Take a look. Take a look.
All over the world.
The problems are many.
Gang.
And solutions not easy.
Get the wisdom.
We live in a cruel.
Hi, my name is Darlene Knoll, and I was recently arrested the 3rd of December for basically being a thorn in the side of the police officers, Officer Gonzalez and Venice. I've been an activist now for probably the last 6 months, but really heavily into it the last month or 2 months, since they've been confiscating motorhomes and cars and vans for living in them. It happened that I was driving down the street going to St. Joseph's, and I saw them pull in, and they were behind an RV in the gas station, and they've been doing some pretty low down things by like following people that look like they live in their vehicles and pulling them over and saying, "It looks like you're living in your vehicle, you're under arrest, and we're impounding your vehicles." So I usually, when they do stuff like that, and with the motorhomes, they've been sabotaging. They did one over here on 7th Street that I definitely, McGinnis had me look underneath, and there was no wet spots and there was no smell. And then an hour later, another lady, Gina, tells me to look again, and of course there's a little drip, and there's of course a smell. So to me that was a sabotage or a setup, you know. So every time that they turn around, I seem to be there, and I guess this time it really pissed them off. They thought I was alone, and they didn't know that a girlfriend was there with me in the alley in their car. And so I walked up and I said, "What's going on?" And he said, "Back up," and I complied and I backed up. He said, "Back up further," so I backed up further. And then Gonzalez got out of the car and says, "Hey, do you have any, darling, what are you doing? Do you have any warrants?" And I said, "Yeah, I got a warrant." She goes, "Give me your license." So I walked up to the car, around the back, and I handed the license over the car, the trunk of the car. She took it and she started walking the car. She goes, "You know what? I'm taking you for the warrant this time. That's it. We're going for the warrant." And so she started to walk around, and instead of saying, you know, "Put your hands behind your back and spread your legs," she didn't do that. What she did is she proceeded to walk up to me and pushed me by my back and tried to trip me with her leg. And I wouldn't go down, so she tried it again, and I wouldn't go down. Third time she tried, she couldn't do it, so she grabbed the back of my head and tried to smash it in the back of the car, and I wouldn't go down. She got pissed off again. She tried to grab my arm to handcuff it. Well, of course, I'm kind of standing strong and back because it's a defense mechanism. She's trying to hurt me. You know, I'm not really trying to, what's the word where you... Resist arrest, right, resist arrest. Because they've tried to threaten me that many times before where they failed, and I said, "Take me to jail, let's get this over with," but they didn't want to do it. Now this time, because I was there alone, it was just McGinnis and Gonzalez and me, they thought they were gonna rough me up. Okay, there was no other cops around, there was nobody around. So when she couldn't get my face down, I was gonna let her smash my face into the car. She tried several times, and she yelled for McGinnis to help her. And so that's when they started to do that, and they were wrestling with my arms and stuff. So then I finally decided just to lay down so that I didn't get hurt anymore, because I know I wasn't going to win. So they handcuffed me, and they did it pretty tight because my hands turned purple and they went numb and they swelled up. Now she told me she was going to take me in for assault and resisting arrest, and that they put me in the car. And when McGinnis wasn't in the car, she said she had threatened me. She had given me some threats just between her and I, and I thought that was pretty cruel what she'd said. And so basically that's all she did. And then she had told me that it wasn't for confiscating the RV, it was for a theft. And I apologized to the whole thing. I said, "Let's start again." And she said, "No, we're taking you. We want you down." Da, 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 da. So that's basically it.
Okay, now. What you just said, it wasn't for confiscating the RV. What do you mean?
Well, I thought they were following people again and had the audacity to follow somebody into a gas station and harass them about living in the RV in the gas station at the pump. Well, I didn't know that until she put me in handcuffs and threw me in the back. And then she showed me the screen, which I couldn't see because I don't have my glasses. She said it was for a possible theft, a report of stolen vehicle. So I apologized to her the whole thing. I said, let's start all over again, and she wasn't having it. They took me to Pacific Division, and I was supposed to be in Santa Monica. They should have known that within the 2 hours I was at Pacific Division, and they sent me down to South Central. You know, they're saying because I had my asthma problem, but you know, I was supposed to be in Santa Monica. They released me at 3 o'clock in the morning. They said I was going to be released at 1. They were going to have police, Santa Monica police, come and get me. They didn't do it.
Wow.
They didn't. I had no food, almost for 24 hours. I had no blanket. I was cold. They wouldn't respond to me. They left me in a cell by myself. And people, the sergeant was wonderful. Sergeant Hart was wonderful. She was very helpful, and she got me some phone numbers out of my book. And also, Officer McGinnis had gone through my phone book and stuff like that.
Okay, Darlene, you said that they took you in on a warrant. Now, what kind of warrant did you have?
Well, it was a warrant. It was an infraction in Santa Monica that turned to misdemeanor because I had forgotten about it. It was so minuscule. It was a dog off leash, which was made up by the Santa Monica police just because he was mad when we were parked over on Rose Avenue when Big Lots was there before Whole Foods started, and it was like late at night, and one of my dogs was under the motorhome. I was watching a movie, and this big light flashed in my house, and what the heck was that? And it was 2 cops from Santa Monica harassing all the motorhome people, and he said my dog was under there, and I got the dog, and he put the dog in there. So I put the dog in the house, and I said, and the conversation continued, and he called me over to the car, and just being a real
Creep.
yeah, creep is a nice word to say. So he said, let me think, what can I give you a ticket for? So that's what it was for, and then I totally forgot about it. So it was an infraction, and they tried to get me several times on a warrant, you know, trying to mess with me about my motorhome and saying that I illegally lodged in it, and that I had a leak here and that, and none of it was true because I kept getting in their face, not. So they couldn't take me on the warrant because of an infraction. You know, if they take me in for something like that, they're going to get reprimanded for it. You know, they're going to get in trouble for it because the jails are so full. But this time, because every time they were somewhere harassing a motorhome, pops up Darlene, hey, what are you guys doing? You know, so they got pissed this time. They were really pissed. They were alone. They thought I was alone. This was the opportunity for them to take advantage of me and rough me up a little, but they didn't know that I had a couple witnesses watching that were willing to testify what they saw. My poor girlfriend thought that I was being beat up, and she thought they broke my arm, and she was devastated. She's very timid and demure, and what happened too was the thing is that when she asked me for the warrant, asked me for my driver's license, which I gave her, and I was still I was fiddling with my phone trying to get pictures and document it, because that's what I do. She told me to shut the phone off, and I didn't respond to her. I didn't answer her. I did everything else she wanted. Everything her McGinnis asked me to do, I did. But when she asked me to shut the phone off, I didn't do it. I just didn't acknowledge her. I just kept trying to get the camera set up. She walked over and reached over and grabbed the camera, slammed it down on the trunk of the car, and that's when she proceeded to try to trip me and do all that sort of stuff. And she didn't realize that this old broad's tougher than she thought she was, because she couldn't take me down, and that really pissed her off, and she had to have her partner come and help get me down, and that still didn't work. So I finally gave in, because I was getting hurt. So that was basically it. So I was taken in for a misdemeanor warrant, which was basically an infraction for a dog off leash 4 years ago.
Wow.
That's why I got taken in.
Big
bad criminal.
Yes.
I'm a hardened criminal. They're out to get me. And the threats they're giving me now, you know, I'm not going to go into detail what she said, but she said not some pretty things. So just want to let you know that she did threaten me, and I take it to heart what she said. So
are you afraid, or how do you feel?
Yeah, I'm not afraid of her per se. I'm afraid of what they can do to me if I leave my sanctuary, if I leave my safety zone right now. I don't want to have to take sanctuary all the time, but you know, if I know that if I pull out of this safe place that I'm parking right now, they're going to take me down. They're going to take my motorhome from me, and this is all I have left in my home, my 3-bedroom house. My whole life is in this vehicle and a small storage compartment in the Marina. And my dogs are everything to me. She threatened to take my dogs away from me for an infraction. Because I'm just there because I'm an activist. I care about the homeless and the RV people and the people that nowadays with this this recession, they're not considering the scales here of people having homes with mortgages they can't pay anymore, that they're losing their jobs and they lose their house and they lose their apartment and they have nowhere where to go. So where do they go? In their vehicles, or they get an RV, so that they're not on the streets. And the cops come in, they take the RVs or they take their cars and throw them on the streets and demean them even more, and just take all the dignity from them. This is why I'm so passionate about it, and that's why I'm there all the time. Is because as soon as they come out of jail, their sleeping bags are gone, their clothes are gone, they throw them all in the trash. These people come out with nothing, and I don't want that to be me, and I don't want that to be anybody else anymore. So that's why I'm doing what I do, honey. I'm here. God put me here for this reason. I know that now. I thought it was for dogs, but it's not. It's to help the homeless and the poor and the less fortunate that need help. And I'm a strong woman. I think I can do some help. Sit. Come here, sit down. Good boy. That's Mama's good boy. All right. Is that my Dina? Is that for you? And that's for Mama's girl? These are her jerky treats. These are favorite stuff that they like right here. That's what they like. Ebony Jasmine, where's the squirrel? Where's the squirrel, girls? Sissy, Nikki, where is it? You want another one? Sit down. Sit down. Come up here and kiss Mama. Come down. Come here, Nicholas. Up. That's my good boy. That's my good boy.
And I see you have disabled plates on your van.
And my car. Both.
And your car.
Right.
And I would have thought you would be covered by that new lawsuit that just got filed.
Well, you know what? I don't know if I am or not. I talked to Bruffy's Tow, and they said I am not covered, that I am not protected with my plates for the OVOs or the the 2 to 6 a.m. Somebody else said I was. I can't take that chance because I cannot take that chance of them coming in and taking my home. That's, like I said, that's all I have left. They took it last year for tickets, and it's taken me a year to pay off everything everybody that I had paid to get my vehicle back. I got it back in 3 days, and like I said, this is my life. That's all I have of my life. I was born and raised in Santa Monica and Venice. I've been here 56 years. And they're trying to take that from me and tell me to get out of town. This is my town. I have no family here. I have nothing. This is it. This is my family, me and them. So they're trying to take advantage of me because I'm a single woman by myself, an elderly woman. But they don't know that I'm a tough old tomboy, So, they can't. I'm not going down without a fight. I'm not talking about a physical fight because I'm not a physical person, okay? But I'm going to protect myself. Like when they tried to do it, when they tried to arrest me, they didn't have to use physical violence on me. They didn't. Because I can verbally be abusive with my mouth, but I will never ever hurt anybody. And I've had people slug me, hit and punch me in the face. And I just said, what was that for? And talk to them. I'm not a violent person. I would not assault, especially an officer. I would never assault an officer. And I'm just not. I'm loving. They call me Mother Teresa the Second. It's like if they knew my past, they wouldn't call me that. But, I've never been a physical person, so.
So what kind of work did you do, and what happened there?
Oh, okay. Well, I had a 3-bedroom house in Inglewood that I was renting. It was my first house, finally. I got them for the dogs. I was a medical assistant. I worked in a doctor's office. I'd gone back to school back in '92 for that because of the recession in '91. And before that, I was an administrative assistant, executive secretary for 15 years. So, and then, I went to school for hair and stuff like that. But I went back. I did home health care for 7 years till she passed away in her sleep. And then I went with 3 medical agencies trying to find work, and there's just nothing out there. This was in 2002. And I tried and I tried. I got roommates, ended up supporting them, but finally I just couldn't stay anymore, and I had to give up the house. And then we ended up living in a minivan for 2 years, and then I got the motorhome. So, and I've been trying to get a place to live, but I can't get work. I can't afford. The rents out here are just atrocious. I don't have to live on the beach, but I like to be in the Bay Area because of my asthma.
So you've been in Venice a long time, so you've seen a lot of changes.
I was born and raised in Santa Monica and Venice. I went to Grant Elementary, John Adams Junior High, Santa Monica High, Santa Monica City College. I worked in Westwood. I had my own office. I used to work in Westwood. I had an office overlooking Westwood on the 11th floor. You know, I worked in a nonprofit organization for advertising for the Library of Congress when I was in my 20s. You know, I was a manager and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I've always worked since I was 17 years old. I've been on my own, and now I'm homeless. At 48, I became homeless. I'm 56 now.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't want to be out here. I mean, you know, I can adapt. I don't want to be out here, but I found a new family out here. People that are very, very loving, more loving than a lot of these people that live indoors.
Mm-hmm. So are you in any kind of program to get housing, or how does that work?
Well, I'm with LASA and I'm with PATH, but nobody's come back to talk to me. They said they'd be back the next day, and they didn't come back. They gave me numbers. The numbers don't work. The voicemail box is full. I've been going back and forth from the Hampton St. Joseph's to the regular St. Joseph's on Lincoln, making calls everywhere. Nobody seems to know anybody. Oh, well, that girl that gave me the car, she no longer works for us. Well, what is this all about? I mean, you say we're on a program, and then I've been calling Rosenthal's office one or two times a day for the last 2 weeks until last week. Nobody can help me. No, they can't trace they're tracing where the task force is coming from. They don't know when the program's going to start. That, you know, it's like it's a little bit too late for the program. They've taken everybody. So if the program, if anybody's left in the program, which I think there's 3 people out of the 10 that want to go. There's 3 people. Boy, they did a big job, didn't they? Whoa!
So
they did a lot of good for the community.
So how many people do you think are left on the street right now?
Well, I went around and counted. Okay, there's one on Venice here. There's 4, so that's maybe 5 on Venice Boulevard between Lincoln and the boardwalk. There's 3 over here on Broadway. There's none on 7th anymore. There's 4 or 5 on 3rd Street. And I've been up and down all the streets in Venice, and there are no motorhomes anywhere on Venice. Nowhere in Venice. Just the sporadic things. Oh, there's one or 2 on Lincoln that park on Lincoln because that's a highway. They don't know that's a highway. They can't touch them on a highway. Okay. And there's a few at another church that are keeping safe. There's 1, 2, 3. But that's a motorhome. There's 1 motorhome, and the other ones are vans. There's 2. So I'd say maybe 12, 15 motorhomes in all of Venice altogether that I've counted. Mm. There's nothing down at the beach because we're not allowed in the parking lot anymore.
So what happened there? The parking lot.
I don't know that much about it. I just know that they passed a law saying that in any vehicle over
20 feet.
22. Well, I think it was 22 feet. That if they can't fit into 1 slot, they can't be parked in there. So all motorhomes were banned. Anybody that went, they had cops out there. I didn't see it, but I was told that for like the first couple of weeks, they had cops post out outside the entrance to the Rose parking lot so that no motorhomes could come in. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't let anybody in that had an RV. Mm. So, yeah.
Unbelievable.
I know.
Unbelievable.
So that's my passion now, is because of the things that I've seen them do to people, the way they've treated them. They followed this one guy out of the church in his SUV, followed him. He parked his car to go walk somebody's dog. As soon as he got out of the car, they walked up to him and said, well, looks like you live in your vehicle. You're under arrest. And they impounded his vehicle, and they took him to jail. Mm. Yeah, so it's like, you know.
And that's what they're doing to people.
That's what they're doing. Some lady, wasn't it Patty? Was it Patty that was driving down the street? Yeah. Coming from Santa Monica, and she drove down Lincoln in an RV. Yeah. I'm afraid what they're going to do to me if I try to go get propane for my RV. I'm going to need to get propane next month, or maybe the end of this month. They followed her all the way to Marina and pulled her over in the Marina and said if they see her in Venice again, they're gonna arrest her and impound her vehicle. Right. She's not to come to Venice ever again. Right. And she was just driving through. Right. What about all these tourists that come down? Do you have to have a $100,000 motorhome to be allowed in here?
Probably.
I don't know. You know, I'm glad to go. I'm glad to come out of this. If they want to buy me a motorhome, I'm all for that. Right. Buy me a motorhome. Get me on a lot. There are no lots for motorhomes, especially poor people.
The problems are many
Gangs.
and solutions not easy.
Get the wisdom.
We live in a cruel world. The hungry and homeless are crying for mercy.
All over the world.
They live in a cruel world. They have the right, the human right, to live life decently.
Do I hate? Do I love?
They have the right, the human